During the final weeks of the Trump presidency, including the day the Capitol was attacked, British filmmaker Alex Holder had behind-the-scenes access to former President Trump and his inner circle as part of a documentary project. The footage his team gathered was subpoenaed by the committee probing the attack, and investigators have interviewed Holder as they seek to piece together what happened. Alex Holder three-part documentary series Unprecedented premieres today on Discovery Plus, and he is here with us this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Morning.
Your documentary, which I've watched, powerful footage of the brutal violence on January 6th. Your documentary also focuses on the Trump family in an intense way. Do they feel any culpability for what happened?
I mean, in my interactions with them, no, not at all. I mean, I think President Trump, when I interviewed him in Mar-a-Lago, he doubled down on the position. In fact, he even says that the reason why the protesters went into the Capitol on January 6th was because they had believed that the election was stolen. Well, who told them that the election was stolen other than him? And then with respect to his children, they declined to discuss the subject of January 6th. So I think that their silence will be for others to determine what that really means.
You and your crew captured this amazing moment in January 2021 with Vice President Pence as he has to confront a decision on something most vice presidents never have to make a decision about, whether to invoke the 25th Amendment. Let's take a look at that moment.
I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment.
Oh. 748.
That's when I received it, but the House members got it a while back.
Yeah, excellent. Tell Zach to print me off a hard copy for the trip home.
Sure.
Great. I'm always hopeful about America. I always believe that America's best days are yet to come, and I still believe that.
What did you witness behind the scenes that day that you may have shared with the January 6th committee that we didn't see?
Well, I mean, that day was pretty extraordinary. This is about 6 days or so after the events of January the 6th. We're now in the White House in the OEOB, so this is the ceremonial room for the Vice President. And we saw things in the corridors at desks that were sort of upended and chairs outside because they were obviously moving out for the new administration. And there was this sort of really dour, quite sort of depressed mood in the building at that time. And some of the aides around the Vice President as well were also, talking quietly, whispering. Things were, it was a very uncomfortable situation. And then the Vice President walks in, he sits down. And this is, I mean, on that day, he was probably the most famous man in the world because this was all about the 25th Amendment and whether or not he was actually going to invoke this procedure. So it was an extraordinary day, and he sits down in the chair and his aide hands him over his phone, and myself and also our director of photography saw that it was from the Speaker's office. And we captured this extraordinary moment and also the aftermath of it as well. So we were walking in history all the way through this entire process of making this documentary. And I hope people tune in and watch it and see these incredible moments unfold.
You were walking through history. You were with the Trump family again and again, and you cast them as a family that's also a brand, and it's a brand that cannot accept defeat. Do you believe the former president will run again?
Oh, I don't know whether or not he'll run again. I mean,
But you've been up close with him.
I mean, I think he tends to not do the same thing twice when he fails. And I think the reason for that, and this is what the series shows, is it's all about the brand. It's all about the word Trump. And the association of the word Trump to failure is something that he can't accept and his kids can't accept. So the idea that it may happen again, that he might fail again, is something that would be something that he could not accept. So maybe he might take the risk, maybe he won't take the risk, we'll see. I mean, he says we'll see.
You spoke to former President Trump about democracy. What did that conversation reveal to you?
Oh, I don't think he really understands what that really means. I mean, when I'm sitting in front of him, in the White House, on sort of 4 or 5 days after his own Attorney General has said there's no evidence to support his claims of election malfeasance, and he's given me all these different reasons as to why there actually is election issues and how we need to intervene and we need to sort of get brave and courageous judges. I mean, this isn't a man who really sort of fully understands what it means to be, what democracy actually really means.
You've probably spent more time with Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Ivanka Trump than almost anyone else outside of that family. Do you believe they are angling to continue the Trump brand politically and run for office, if not in 2024, at some point in the future? You know them.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I mean, Don Jr. certainly came across, at least in my interactions with him, and I think in the series people will see that he does have an interest in politics for sure. And he goes into sort of the background of where his political awakening comes from, which is pretty interesting. I think Eric, maybe not as much, and Ivanka will see as well. But I think that but ultimately, with this family and what the series shows is this sort of the dynamic, the sort of succession vibe, the dynamic between the 3 children and the relationship they have with their father and vice versa.
Alex Holder, thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.